What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining us again. Today, we are live with Dave Moss for week 2 of our crisis/value-based marketing. Dave, what's going on, man? How's life?
Life is crazy, just like last week, but
Yep.
but all right, making do, doing
Nice.
some outward education and some self-education.
Yeah, me too, man. I think that's key right now.
Yeah.
Well, so last week, if you guys joined us, we were talking about sort of the idea behind crisis-based and value-based marketing, and Dave actually asked for you guys to submit some of your websites, and so he's going to spend some time going over those today and some of the adjustments that he would make for your copy. Part of this whole value-based marketing thing is that you can't just create a website and create a brand and then just leave it like that. Like if it was that easy, it would be great, right? You have to update your copy, your voice, and all of that as the surroundings change, right? And so when you're in the middle of a crisis or a pandemic, obviously that's a good time to update your copy and your brand, message and whatnot. And so Dave's going to be spending some time going through that today. Guys, if you are watching us live, if you could just comment, say, hey, we want to know that you guys can hear us in the comments and that you're tuned in. If you're watching on a replay, just comment replay so that we know that you're joining us. And if you are watching us live right now, just let us know where you're from and what you photograph. And Dave, let's get into this.
Yeah, stoked. All right, let me get all this going. I made a nice presentation for you guys today so that you can follow along, because I don't know about you, but I'm a visual person, so it definitely helps to see presentations. All right, so we're just going to talk a little bit about crisis and value-based marketing today, and then I'm going to go over the examples. I spent some time on some of you guys' websites this week. Okay, so this is basically what we're going to run down. Price versus value marketing, just to give you an overview, the basics of value marketing, a little bit about why your client is the hero of this story, which is problem-solving based marketing, and then the examples that I spent some time on this week. So, okay, so this two standard types of marketing that we see in the photography community, and most people do what's on the left, which is price marketing, which is essentially you have your product, which is photography, family photography, newborn photography, headshots, whatever, and it has a price, and you say, what are you going to pay me for this? Saying that your photography is the only commodity or the only product that value that you are offering. Value marketing instead is showing all of the benefits of your product and service to increase the perceived value. So people feel like they're getting more than what you are charging. And it includes what is often called hidden value. So things like, I'm going to help you build your timeline for your wedding, or I'm going to help you pick vendors, or I have a closet full of 200 dresses that I'm going to help you for your senior session or for a fashion shoot or anything else like that. These are all things that we often do for our clients, but we very rarely have that conversation with them. So we are not showing that value. So it's not increasing the customer's perceived value of our overall product, instead of just saying, hey, I just do photography. So value-based pricing, it's all about the customer, helping them, as Donald Miller would put it, survive and thrive. And when people perceive more value, they will spend more money. If your product is, say, $5,000, and you're just saying, hey, I will come and shoot your wedding for $5,000, and that's great. But if you say, hey, our product is $5,000, but here's this whole laundry list of other things that we're going to do for you and help you out with, not only are they going to be more willing to spend that $5,000, but they're also going to be more willing to put more money in and maybe do an album upgrade or do something like that, because they're perceiving more value, and so they're willing to spend more on it. Now, crisis marketing, which we've been talking about last week and going forward, is about adjusting your messaging to your client's new problem. So our client's problem is they need photography, but it's often bigger than that. You know, if they're looking for family photography, documentary session where you come into their house and photograph their family, their problem is that they want the family photos, but they also have a laundry list of other problems. They're worried about their house being too messy, or they're worried about their kids not behaving in the way that they want them to behave, or any number of different things. And so as a photographer, if you can address those problems and say, hey, don't worry about your kids going crazy, it makes for better photos. Here's some examples of that. And if they are problematic, here are some things that we can do together to help, bring them back down and bring them into part of the session, and showing up and showing that value. Because likely if you're a family photographer, you are already doing that. But if you don't say it, then they don't know about it. So crisis marketing is now saying our client has a new problem. They can't have that same family session because you can't come into your home because of COVID or something like that, and adjusting your messaging to meet that problem.
I love this, Dave. Let me just butt in for a second.
Yeah.
So a lot of what we teach with the Art of Six Figures is this, what we call experience-based marketing, right? And it goes a lot along the lines, it's a tongue twister there, with this value-based offer. I mean, it's kind of like a mix in between, right? Because your website, like you said, can't just say, hey, I do weddings. It costs $5,000. You want to book me? It needs to highlight the experience of what it's like to work with you, right?
Yes.
And I think we touched on this last time, is that nobody wants to hire a photographer for a session. They want to hire an experience. They want to purchase an experience, and they want to be led through something. And they want to get to the other end of it and go, that's why I hired them, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's the difference. And the things that you're talking about are so key, because that's a huge difference, right? Like, even if you walked into any shop and they were just like, here's a shovel, do you want to buy it? It's like, no. Right. But hey, here's a shovel that you can be used for this and this and this and this, and it'll save you time. It'll save you money. There's got to be something else attached to it. So I love that, man.
Yeah. There's a great, Seth Godin in one of his books referenced a marketing professor, I think it was Harvard or something like that. It's called the quarter-inch drill bit story. And it's saying, it's like, nobody ever wants to go out and buy a quarter-inch drill bit. Nobody needs a quarter-inch drill bit. What they need is a quarter-inch hole. But they don't even need that. They need a place where they can hang a shelf or something else like that. And they want the shelf so that they can display photos of their family or something like that. And so it's like, the more and more down the line you go through the customer's experience and to the root cause of what they're looking for, they're not buying a quarter-inch drill bit. They're buying the feeling of love and comfort and safety by having their family's photos on a shelf in their living room. And so if you can tap into that whole chain and see what's at the end of it, with wedding photography, they're not just buying wedding photography. They're buying a family heirloom. They're buying photos for people who aren't born yet, for their kids or for their grandkids or so on and so forth, to have a legacy of a family. And that's both the end point and also plays into that experience like you were talking about. Because if you can give somebody a good emotional experience through a photography session, then the value of it is just so much higher.
Yeah. Love that, man. So good.
All right. So, what we're selling essentially has more value than we give it credit for, which is what Issa and I were just talking about. It's more than just the hours we spend shooting or how many prints they get. It's the years of experience or the other things that we do on the shoot, help them do timelines, help them calm their kids down, for headshots, helping them pick out the right outfit or the right location. All of this is value/experience-based marketing, where you're giving them so much more than just finished product. This is my main point when it comes to value-based marketing, is you are the guide for your clients. They're the hero of the journey. Your business is not the hero of the journey. A lot of photographers out there, I see them, especially early on in their careers, make the mistake of talking about themselves a lot. This is how I do it. This is what I'm going to bring to the table. It's always better to talk about it from the client's perspective. You are guiding them on their journey, not the other way around. So here's how I'll help you. Here's what you are going to get out of this experience. Here is what my years of experience is going to bring to your shoot so that you get this. So always make it, whenever you're talking about your clients in your website, in your marketing copy, in, if you do video messages to your clients, all of these things, you always want to be talking about them. They're the hero. They're the Karate Kid. You're Mr. Miyagi. You're here to help them on this journey. So this is very, very simple 3-step plan to value marketing. Clearly and simply communicate how you're going to help them. And it's really, really important to make this as simple as possible. Like, do not use the thesaurus to get big, huge words, unless your ideal client are rocket scientists. I have some friends who are wedding photographers in Colorado, and literally their ideal client are rocket scientists and doctors and things like that. So rather than calling a session a mini session, they call it an ephemeral session because it's a brief moment in time. And it works for them because that's their ideal client, and they want people who can understand that language. But for most of us, we want to be talking 6th grade reading level. Make it really, really simple. You don't want to make them burn calories. Solve their problems, and their problems are beyond just needing a photographer, which we've been talking about last week and this week as well. Show them how you're going to solve all of their extra problems that they're going to bring to the table, and then call them to action. I say this to my coaching clients all the time. Business is like dating, and if you don't ask the person to go out, then you go home alone. So you need to be really, really clear and have a yes or no. So many of us, and when we do website critiques next week, I'll be pointing this out, but 99.9% of photographers, that top right button on their website is contact. Contact is not a yes or no question. Book a call, schedule an appointment, book your dream shoot today. Like, those are yes or no's. They're calls to action. They're saying, this is what I want you to do next in this journey. So you just want to be keeping these 3 things in mind. And as I go through the examples that we're about to go through, it'll show that as well.
Love that, Dave. The whole solving problems, I think, is overlooked a lot, right? Because we believe that we have already solved that problem, or we don't even think of this point, right? So here I am, I'm a photographer. A couple people told me I take good pictures, so I start charging some money for it, right? And then from there, it's like I get my website up, and I got a great portfolio now. And now I'm sitting here staring at my computer screen again, and I'm wondering why people aren't following me or finding me or booking me. And most of the time, it's because we don't show them how we're solving their problems, right? And when we look at like boudoir, obviously that's the most glaringly obvious example of this, where so often women have been told their entire lives, this is what you're supposed to be, right? And it's just complete BS. And so they're perfect exactly the way that they are. And the session that they do, the photographic experience that they have, is secondary to the sometimes awakening that they have, or like the fact that they may love to look at themselves in the mirror again, right? Or that they just get empowered and they're ready to take on life, right? It doesn't even matter what the end result is. It just is that their boudoir session can actually empower you, right? It's not just to look at great photos of yourself, but it can empower you. Yeah. Same thing for families, right? Family sessions can bring the family together. Maybe one of the spouses is, out of town a lot, and this is a great opportunity for them to be reminded that, especially for the kids, that the big portrait in their home, when they come and look at that, it's like, see, Daddy does love me, or Mommy does love me, and we do have a good family, right? Even though they don't necessarily feel it because one of those people is not home all the time. So I think this is really, really important. And I know it's just a sub point in this, but
it's the main point.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It can really change everything. Problem and solution is how we sell everything at the Art of Six Figures, right? We go, hey, what's your problem? You don't have enough bookings. Okay, well, look at Joe and Sally and Dan and these other people. They went through this system and they saw these results. Do you want to have those results as well, right? The call to action. So it's breaking down wrong mindsets, showing them the proper solution and that they can actually achieve and attain, and then allowing them to go ahead and calling them out and saying, do you want this?
Yeah. And like as a sidebar too, solving problems, if you're looking for good SEO, it is the best way to get good SEO. Google calls it serving searcher intent. I always break it down into simple language because I like simple language of what do your clients Google before they Google you? Mm-hmm. Like what sorts of problems, because all of us in the world, if we have a question, we go to Google and we type it in and then we look for those answers. So if we can answer those questions for our client and we are serving that searcher intent, not only are we saying, hey, I've solved that for you, but you're saying, I'm also an expert in this thing that is going to help further solve your problem. Yeah. Whether it's like, how do I feel better about myself? And they end up on your boudoir website or whatever it is. Like, think about what people are Googling before they Google you. And that's a really, really strong way to solve their problems.
So good.
Yeah. All right. So Never assume how people can understand how your business can change their lives. You have to tell them, show them, and make it simple. So this is basically everything that Easton and I just said. You have to tell them how you're going to make their lives better. All right, into the examples. So I went through all of your websites that you guys submitted last week, and thank you so much for that. And I pulled out 7 websites that cover a bunch of different types of photography. Just so that whoever is out there, this might be helpful to you. So we'll start off with a wedding photographer. I went on to Stevenson's website. I looked at their website and read through their messaging and their about sections, and then Googled some of the problems that were coming up, like how do I have my wedding in Florida, or COVID wedding planning Florida, and things like that. And there was a lot of confusion, and there was a lot of like unclear messaging and everything else like that. So I just responded to that right away. And this would be copy that you would put on your homepage. And this could be underneath your header, but give it some good prime real estate for the time being while people are responding to this. And it says, we are your photographers and guides for a perfect Florida wedding day. Now more than ever, weddings can be confusing to plan. What are the rules? Where can you go? Photography by Door has been helping couples plan weddings in South Florida for the last 10 years, which they mention on their about section, but it's good to have an authority statement right away. And we're going to help you use our expertise and our relationship with great vendors, because they also mention that they love to help pair couples with good vendors to help you plan the best wedding day. And then check out how on our wedding experience page, which would be a hyperlink, or book a call today and let us help you. So this language right here is playing directly into the current crisis. People are confused. How many people can I have at my wedding? Do people have to social distance? Where can I do it? What venues are open? Can I do the beach, etc.? You're setting yourself up as the expert to solve this new problem for them and say, look, we've been doing this for 10 years. We've got it handled. We're keeping our eye on everything. We've got a great network of vendors, and we're going to come together and help you. And I know if I was looking for a wedding photographer and they said this, it's like, we're going to help you out. Totally. I will just throw extra money at them, because now this is stress that I don't have to deal with. Okay. So next example, headshot and product photographer from South Africa. Now on his homepage, he had a slider with all of his different types of photography that he does. So I would have a main thing that says get back to business now, because most of his photography is leaning towards commercial or helping people in that way. Then on the headshot slider, it would be need a perfect headshot to land your dream job. Let me help. Because most people who are getting headshots done aren't doing it as a vanity thing. People are getting headshots for a LinkedIn profile or for an acting job or whatever. That's the reason why they are getting headshots. So address that problem directly. Do you need this for your dream job? Let me help you do that. This isn't, I know that you need a headshot, but this is for more than this, more than just a photo. And I understand that. Then he's got product photography, which is another thing. And I know here in Calgary, I've helped a bunch of photographers get more and more product work, because more and more businesses are moving online, and a lot of companies don't have good product photography. And so it's hard for them to sell online. So address that problem right away and just say it. More and more businesses are moving online. Good product photography can help you sell more. And then they can click into that and get more language and more verbiage around how he will help them get good product photography. And then he had some lifestyle, which I just sort of read as like looked more like a branding session or a business session. So is your business reopening, and are you ready to get more help, get more customers? Help your brand stand out with personal branding sessions. Learn more here. Again, addressing the root problem. They want business. They don't want photography. They understand that photography helps them get business. So go right to that root problem. They don't need the 1/4 inch drill bit. They need what's at the end of it. So just address that directly. All right, newborn photography in Round Rock, Texas. So the world has been frozen into place because of the coronavirus, but things are starting to open back up. If 2020 has taught us anything, it's that family matters now more than ever. The number of people I've heard this from, I miss my family. I can't wait for this to open back up so we can have a family reunion or go camping together or whatever. All of the portrait projects that were going on was all around family. So I just say, Dazzling Light Photography is offering a number of different options for your family sessions in response to the social distancing rules here in Texas. And then you just set that up, whether it's a park session where you shoot with a long lens, or you do a backyard session for them, address the problem directly so that it can work out. You know, maybe you, depending upon your municipality or your county or your state, or your country, you might not be able to be doing studio sessions right now. Here in Calgary, where I'm from, studio photography is phase 2, which is still a couple of weeks away, but you're allowed to shoot outside. So if you could set something up in their backyard with a backdrop or props or whatever, you want to let them know that you can do this. That way you can get to work and serve their need right away. And I always put these in as like, these would be the buttons that would be on your website to learn more here. You always want to have them in brand colors. You want to make them bold and pop out. In StoryBrand, in the StoryBrand workshop, they always reference your call to action buttons as your cash register. And they say that you never want to have your cash register on the 3rd floor in the 2nd stall of the women's bathroom, because no one will ever find it. You want to make your calls to action and your cash registers very apparent and very easy to use. So big buttons, bright colors, make it very, very clear. And we'll talk about that a little bit more next week in website critiques. All right, commercial architectural here in my hometown, Calgary, Alberta. Get your brand ready for reopening. We've all been waiting at the starting line to get back to business, and that time has come. Book your headshot or commercial shoot with Brett Gilmore Photography today to facelift your website and social media so you can let your customers know that you are ready and waiting. Again, just playing directly into what's going on right now. Everybody wants to get back to work. People want to refresh their businesses and say, hey, we're here for you. Come buy from us again. So just serve that intent right away.
Dave, let me jump in real quick.
Yeah.
Guys, first of all, I want to say thank you to Dave, because this is some incredible stuff. And I hope that you're noticing something that I'm noticing here. A lot of us put together a website, right? We have all these pages, we have blogs, we have all this stuff. And then you read these couple, sentence paragraphs that Dave's writing and you go, oh, I get it, right? Because some of our websites don't ever get to the point, right? Like, seriously, I do website critiques all the time. I know you do as well, Dave. And I go through some sites where I'm not even sure what they offer, or maybe they offer everything and it's just too overwhelming, right? Sometimes you can have too much text on your website. Sometimes you can have too much content on your website. Sometimes you have to scale it back, and sometimes it's the wrong content, right? And I think that what we're seeing here through just 4, simple examples is that you've truly wrapped up and embodied what is happening in this time right now, right? And just in these few sentences that we're seeing you writing for several different brands already, I'm noticing at least that it's so well done, right? It literally brings up the issue, shows them that you're the answer, and says you're waiting. And I love that, because it's really simple, but it's well thought out, right? And it applies. You read the room, and then you make your statement, and I love that.
Yeah, super, super simple, and keep it concise. We can ramble on about this stuff for pages and pages, but that is just as harmful as not saying it at all. Mm-hmm. People don't read on the internet. We see a big block of text and we scroll past it because we don't want to burn those brain calories reading. So you want to keep it short. You want to keep your text big, at least a 16-point font, if not bigger. Have a big headline. Like for this one, I would have the headline be "Get your brand ready for reopening," and then have this text underneath it. And then have a big call to action button underneath. So it's sandwiched by something big and bright that's going to draw the eye, kind of like, what are they? Slot machines in casinos. They're big and bright and loud for a reason, because they draw our attention.
Yeah. And I love that. And I think another key point, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but it would be in your best interest to have these types of things before your page break. So on your homepage, at the very top of the page, before they actually have to scroll down at all, this is where that should go, if I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
no, absolutely. Above the fold, if your website allows it. And if not, just because of design limitations, have it be like the first block or something like that.
Right.
So it's very, very high up.
All right, go ahead, man.
All right. So next one, a boudoir photographer. We talked a little bit about this already. So this language, be bold, be sexy, be you, was the language that was already on their website. I just put it in as be the new you, to play into, like, everybody's been talking about the new normal and all of these things as the world open up. And then now is the best time for boudoir session. Self-care is more important than ever, and your usual methods might be out of reach. However, you can still book your Couture Black boudoir session and let us take care of everything. We'll be fully stocked with sanitizer and make sure you're safe and comfortable throughout your whole session. Learn more about the updated Couture Black experience here. So right again, it's nice and simple. Serving the searcher intent of they still want to feel sexy, they still want to feel good in their own skin. Boudoir is often a self-care thing to take care of ourselves and feel better about ourselves. But then we also want to make sure that, I'm not going to get COVID if I go to somebody's studio. So we're playing into that right away, right there, saying this is how we are going to help that problem and serve your searcher intent. All right, this one, Chris Todd Griffiths did a bunch of different things, but he had mentioned dating portraits, which I thought was super great and time-wise right now works really well. Restaurants are open, dating is back on the table. Update your headshot for your favorite dating app and get back in the game. Right away, right there, you're saying, okay, you can start dating again. Maybe you had a few sneaky Tinder dates during COVID, but now the world is opening back up and you can go on lots of dates. Why not get a new headshot to show off who you are coming out of COVID and get you even more dates? So it can be something simple just like that. And then finally, our last one, high school seniors. Man, high school seniors are like the easiest sell in the world right now because so many of them didn't get to graduate properly. So speak right to that. Maybe you didn't get to walk the stage in your gown and cap, but that doesn't mean you still can't celebrate your graduation. Get your grad photos today with our exclusive 2020 grad sessions. And I'm never one to say not do a deal. I don't do discounts, but sales can be really, really good to make a lot of money and play directly into this. You could have a special grad special for this year for people who are graduating this year to say, look, it sucks that you didn't get to properly graduate high school. So let's do something special for you. Maybe you have a day where you do, $450 sessions and you do 3 in a day in the same park, whatever works for your business and for your lockdown rules. But this right here makes it so simple, makes people feel like they're heard and they still get to be special. And that's something that we all want to feel, is we want to feel special. So this just gets to play directly into that. And that's it. That's my 7 examples.
Love it, man. I think these are so key. And people have talked to us or have some comments in here, and they're very appreciative. So I love that. Now, right before, I want to do a little bit of questions. So if you guys have questions and you're listening, go ahead and type them out and we'll get to them in a second. Talk to me about what we're going to be doing next week, because I believe we're going to be doing website critiques, like full website critiques, right?
Homepage critiques for the most part, just because our homepage is where 90% of the transaction happens on our website. It's great to have blogs and it's great to have experience pages and all the rest of this. But the average user is going to you have 6 seconds to get somebody's attention to see if they like your website, and then you have 2 minutes to win them over. And so if your homepage is designed to do that, then through a value-based marketing perspective, you're going to win every single time, and they'll spend more time on your website and they will buy your product. So we'll go through some web pages.
All right. So guys, if you want your website critiqued, go ahead and put your website in the comments, and Dave will go through and pick a few of those for next week's website critiques. Dave, we have a question that I'm wondering if you can help assist with. So it says, how would you go about advertising when you have no time scale as to when you can shoot? I.e., in the UK, it's illegal to shoot indoors, even with social distancing. I am a newborn photographer, want to get bookings for the future babies. Lockdown baby boom, but have no idea when we'll be allowed to shoot.
Yeah, so this is something that's even in Canada right now, it's like on a province by province basis where like Ontario, they're not allowed to shoot at all. And they're working on it. But other places have rules around where you can shoot, like outdoors in groups under 10 seems to be pretty standard across our country. I can't speak to the UK, but there's always ways that you can work around that if possible, to set up a back garden shoot, or to set up obviously check permitting for your area. But if there's a place where you can go to a park and set something up, it's not as perfect as a studio shoot. You don't get to control the temperature, the lighting, your props, everything else like that. but it is certainly a place where you can still shoot. I would create specialty pricing and packaging to do something like that. I wouldn't use your standard pricing, because if the shoot scope is changing, your price needs to adapt to that as well. Beyond that, gift cards are a really, really good thing to sell. The promise for future shoots. Maybe you don't get to have that fresh 48 shoot for a newborn, but you can do it a month afterwards or something else like that. But you can always have people, buy future shoots saying, hey, when things open back up, we're going to book in right away, and you're going to get first priority because you've been waiting. I know a lot of hair salons were doing that, where it's like, if you had an appointment before COVID, then COVID happened and it canceled, you get first dibs when the salon opens back up. So you could do something similar like that with your business.
Yeah, love that. And I think we've actually seen quite a few people in the newborn space doing webcam sessions.
Yeah.
So, baby was just born. You don't want to bring them into the studio or go to their house because of the whole COVID thing. You can do a Zoom session with them. And there's a bunch of tutorials that many different photographers have now put together on how to do these. But I would look into that too, because that may be something that you can offer so that they can have the newborn session now, but then you'll also maybe give them a session, a month from now when it's open as well. So that way you can kind of fulfill the immediate need. But then you can also do a real session later on. Obviously they'll be a little bit more, a little older at that point. But the other aspect, the thing to keep in mind is that every booking that you're taking now, if you're taking it for like July, they should all know, hey, so right now we're focused on July, but we're still keeping our pulse on on what's happening in the world. And just know that we may need to reschedule this to August or September or beyond based on how that all works, but we're not going to charge you for that. Right.
Yeah.
So just kind of making it easier for them to have that peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Just be the expert and just say, hey, this is everything that might happen and we're aware of it.
Very cool. All right, so Dave, we got somebody that says, "Can I take you to Bueno?"
Beano, the Calgary coffee shop. So they must be a Calgarian.
There you go. Talk about hiring you. So tell us how we can learn more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll put all the links in the chat at the end, but my website's just Dave Moss Coaching, nice and simple. I do one-on-one coaching for photographers and creatives. It's a 6-month or a year-long program. So I will reach out to you. Just shows Facebook user in the chat here, but I'll go back into the other comments and I'll reach out, and then I'll put my links in there.
Awesome, man. Well, Dave, I appreciate it as always. This is super informative. Guys, next week, if you're watching this on a replay again, make sure that you put your websites in the comments, because Dave is going to be doing full homepage website critiques next week, just to kind of help you all to understand a little bit more about this value-based and crisis-based marketing system.
Yeah, I'll look on Sunday. So you'll have until Sunday to drop your links in, and then I'll pull from then.
Perfect. And join us next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for week 3 with Dave Moss. Dave, thanks for joining us, buddy, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, man. Thanks so much.
All right, see ya.